Imagine a small workshop in Medina, Italy, where light barely penetrates through narrow windows. The air smells of hot metal and oil, and in the corners lie drawings and nuts waiting for their time. Here, in this modest room, the future legend of the automotive world took his first steps. This is the place where dreams were born, bold ideas, and the first details that later turned into a symbol of speed, passion, and perfection. Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari, a young man with a sparkle in his eyes and a fire in his heart, sat at his desk, surrounded by blueprints. He worked late, sometimes forgetting about sleep, food, even the fact that life around him went on. Every spark from welding, every sound of a hammer blow was the rhythm of his dream. His hands were covered in oil, and his mind was filled with images of racetracks, roaring engines, and victories that no one had ever seen before. The small signboard, Auto Avio Costruzione, barely reflected the true ambition of this simple garage. Not just a car was being born here, a legend was being born here. The first engine, assembled by hand, roared for the first time, and this sound was like a promise. We will do it. It felt like the world around us did not know that something great was being born here, but Enzo saw it clearly. He saw a future where his ideas would drive on the tracks, inspire people, and become a symbol of freedom and speed. But the path to his dream was not easy. Resources were scarce, competitors were strong, and the world was still recovering from the war. Every little thing became a test. Enzo had to balance ideas with reality. How to make the engine powerful and at the same time reliable. How to assemble a team that shared his obsession with perfection. Every night in the workshop was filled with the noise of tools and hushed conversations. We can do it. We can surpass everyone. But there were also the first moments of fear. The first test drives of the new engine ended in smoke and minor breakdowns, as if the world itself was testing their resolve. At such moments it was easy to give up, but Enzo saw every failure as a lesson. Every sound of metal cracking, every engine malfunctioning, every smoke. It was fuel for his passion, a signal that they were moving in the right direction. Imagine a small team, with a few mechanics and a young Enzo, working through the night, creating the first parts, testing them on an unknown track, listening to the roar of the engine and feeling the vibration that pierces through the body. Each part is like a word in a great story that they wrote together. And although no one knew then that tomorrow they would change the world, already now the air was full of expectation, hope, and dreams. The beginning of Ferrari is a story about the courage to dream against the odds, about the desire to do the impossible when everyone doubts, and about the power of small steps that lead to great achievements. It is the story of how one man and his dedicated team can transform a simple workshop into a symbol of speed and excellence. And this is just the beginning of a journey that will soon transform a small dream into a global legend. Imagine the moment when the first Ferrari 125S is ready to go for a test drive. The roar of the engine pierces the silence of the morning, the metal heats up, and the smell of hot gasoline and oil fills the workshop. Enzo Ferrari stands nearby, his eyes shining with excitement and fear. His dream is about to become a reality, and at the same time you realize that one single step could shatter it to pieces. The first test ends in smoke, and the engine starts to smoke. The hot smell of burning metal hits your nose, and your heart races. The mechanics rush to the car, carefully checking the engine, trying to figure out what went wrong. It was the moment when dream and reality collided head-on. Enzo looks at his team and says quietly, "We learned from this. Next time will be better." The first races were no less dramatic. At the starting line, hearts beat in unison with the roar of engines, spectators applaud and chant, and dust and stones fly under the wheels. But technical problems became a constant test. Every defeat was a blow that echoed in the heart, but Enzo knew the true strength of a brand is not measured by victories, but by the ability to get up after a fall. In those days, Ferrari learned the most important lesson. A mistake is not the end, but the beginning of a new path. Every smoke from an overheated engine, every broken gear, every sound of metal cracking became a signal for change, an incentive for improvement. The team worked nights, without sleep, checking the engines, adjusting the suspension, studying every sound, every vibration. They did not allow themselves to give up because they knew every defeat was a stepping stone to triumph. Moments of failure contrasted with moments of small victories. When the engine finally worked and the car drove smoothly, the heart beat faster and there was electricity in the air. These were tiny victories, but they shaped the character of Ferrari. Each small victory confirmed that if you believe and work tirelessly, you can turn a dream into reality. But these crises were not only technical. There were financial pressures, competitors who already had teams and resources, and the constant fear that the world might not notice the small team from Medina. At those moments, it seemed that the whole world was against Ferrari. And yet, Enzo stood at the head of his team, making unconventional decisions, taking risks, and putting all his spirit into the dream. The first crises taught Ferrari the most important thing. The strength of a brand lies not only in speed and design, but in the ability to turn defeat into fuel for growth. It was a lesson that would stay with Ferrari for life, a lesson about endurance, courage, and an unwavering belief that their dream was worth all the risks. And even in the darkest moments of Ferrari's early history, when the smoke and noise seemed insurmountable, there was a spark, a light sprouting through the obstacles. It was a spark of hope that transformed a small garage into the birthplace of a legend. And it was here, in those early crises, that Ferrari learned the most important thing. The true strength of a brand is born in the struggle and the challenges, when it seems that the world is against you. Imagine a track filled with the roar of engines, the smell of hot petrol, and the dust rising from under the wheels. Hundreds of spectators line the track, and the air is filled with anticipation. This is not just a race. This is the moment when a small team from Medina is going to show the world that Ferrari is capable of more. The first victories were fragile, but incredibly significant. Every start is a heart beating in time with the engine. Every overtaking is a minute full of adrenaline, and every finish is an explosion of emotions. Enzo Ferrari stands next to the team, his eyes shining with pride and anxiety at the same time. Every little thing matters. Whether the engine is properly tuned, whether the bolts are tight, whether the mechanic is ready to react to any problem. These victories did not come easily. The competitors were strong. Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Ferrari were only taking their first steps. Each race was a test of skills, strength of spirit, and faith in the team. Moments of defeat forced us to rethink our strategy, check our mechanics, and change our approach to the race. But with each mistake came the understanding. Every little thing that is improved today will give us an advantage on the track tomorrow. The atmosphere in Enzo's team was like music. The roar of engines, the rustle of instruments, the whisper of mechanics discussing settings, and the constant rhythm of the pulse beating in the hearts of everyone present. It was like a small celebration of future glory, where everyone knew that their work was a contribution to something great, something that would remain in history. One of the most important moments of those years was Ferrari's victory in the first significant Formula One race. When the red car crossed the finish line first, the sound of the signal lasted a long time, and emotions exploded. The team hugged, cried, rejoiced. It was proof, a small workshop, the dream of Enzo and his team, capable of competing with the strongest on the planet. These first steps forward laid the foundation for everything that was to come. They showed that faith, perseverance, and uncompromising quality can overcome any obstacle. Ferrari taught us an important lesson then. Don't be afraid to start small, even if you have huge rivals ahead. and every small victory is a step towards a great legend. The moment of triumph was all the more palpable because it contrasted with the previous crises. Now it was no longer fear, but pride and confidence that guided every movement. Ferrari began to prove that Enzo's dream was not just an idea. It was a reality that could be felt on one's own skin, at every start, in every roar of the engine. This period was the time when Ferrari learned to transform its skills and experience into real results. The team understood that victories on the track are not only about technical excellence, but also about the synchronicity of people, team spirit, belief in a dream, and willingness to take risks. It was then that a legend was born that the world will remember forever. Ferrari is a brand that does not give up, that always moves forward, even when everything around seems insurmountable. Imagine the vast hall of the Ferrari factory in Medina, where every step resonates with the roar of engines and the clank of metal. The air is saturated with the smell of hot oil, fresh paint, and dust rising from grinding machines. Here, cars that will become legends are born, and every movement, every touch of metal is an art. During this period, Ferrari undergoes a true transformation. Giuseppe Mari's designs introduce aesthetics to the world of racing and luxury. Elegant shapes, aerodynamics, the red color that will soon become a symbol of passion and speed. Enzo Ferrari makes bold decisions that challenge established rules. He combines style with technology, expands the team, introduces new testing and quality control methods. The factory is abuzz with work. Engineers experiment with engines, designers sketch new silhouettes, mechanics check every bolt. Every night here is filled with the light of lamps, the hum of tools, and the quiet rustle of drawings. This is a place where not just a car is born, a symbol is created here. And it is then that Ferrari transforms from a racing team into a real brand that amazes the whole world. But transformation is not without crises. It is necessary to combine luxury and technology, innovation and tradition, to convince investors and fans that changes will only bring benefits. Enzo takes risks, making unconventional decisions, the release of new models, new team rules, changes in racing strategy. Every decision is a risk. Every victory is confirmation that courage is rewarded. During the first test drives of new models, the sound of the engine fills the workshop. The roar of the engines and the rumble of the tires on the asphalt mix with the smell of hot metal. Each engine start is a small ritual that confirms Ferrari is ready to conquer new peaks. The team stands by, hearts beat in unison with the engine, and even the smallest details become part of a big dream. This period became a symbol of Ferrari's courage. The brand learned to turn risk into opportunity, uncertainty into innovation, and a humble garage in Medina into an international symbol of speed and style. It was then that Ferrari began to lay the foundations that would make it a legend for fans and competitors alike. Big changes, big risks, big dreams. That's the lesson of this transformation. Ferrari showed the world that the true strength of a brand lies in its ability to think outside the box, make bold decisions, and never settle for less. And it was at this time that an aesthetic was born that is recognized and respected all over the world. The red Ferrari car, a symbol of dreams, speed, and human courage. Imagine a track full of spectators from all over the world. Their voices merge into a hum, like one big heart beating to the rhythm of the roar of the engines. The Ferrari pulls up to the starting line. The red car shines in the sun. Its engine roars as if nature itself merges with the car. This is the moment when a small workshop from Medina becomes a global legend. During these years, Ferrari became a symbol of status and culture. From Monaco to New York, from London to Tokyo, the red car caused admiration and envy. On the tracks, victories alternated with dramatic defeats, but the brand remained steadfast. Engineers constantly improved engines. Designers created new models. Mechanics worked until late at night, and every sound of the engine, every roar of tires was part of a great legend. It wasn't easy. The world was changing, competitors were getting stronger, economic crises were affecting the business, and customer demands were growing. But Ferrari learned the most important thing. True greatness lies in staying true to its principles. Quality, passion, and perfection remained the foundation of the brand, even when the world dictated new rules. In the most important Formula One races, Ferrari demonstrated incredible power. Victories in Monaco, Italy, Imola were moments when the heart beats faster, when every roar of the engine echoes in the souls of fans. Each victory is not just a trophy. It is proof that a small dream can turn into a global force. And it was at this time that Ferrari taught us an important lesson. Great achievements are born with the preservation of the soul of the brand. You can go international, become a symbol of speed and style, but you can never forget that the basis of success is dedication to the idea and passion for the cause. This period was also a time of iconic models that became legends. Every new Ferrari was the embodiment of perfection, every red car a dream on wheels. People lined the tracks, feeling that it was more than a car. It was a symbol of freedom, speed, and courage. And even when difficulties arose, financial, technical, or human, Ferrari turned them into fuel for growth. The team learned to work in sync, to feel the car, to listen to its roar, to understand every vibration. Each victory confirmed, a legend is not just success, but the art of overcoming challenges with pride and confidence. Ferrari's global breakthrough proved to the world that a small workshop in Medina could become a symbol that influences culture, lifestyle, and people's dreams. And this legend continues to live on, to inspire and show that true greatness lies in the combination of courage, passion, and unwavering faith in a dream. Imagine a modern Ferrari factory, huge workshops, shiny cars, the smell of hot metal and fresh paint. This is where cars are born, combining tradition and innovation, classic red and the latest technology. Each engine roars on a test drive, and the team stands nearby, feeling that new challenges lie ahead, requiring determination and courage. In the 1990s, Ferrari stood at a crossroads of change. Competitors were stronger than ever. Technology was advancing at lightning speed, and the expectations of the fans were enormous. Enzo was no longer young, but his spirit and commitment to the team remained unchanged. New engineers, new models, new performance requirements were emerging. Every day was a test. How to combine Ferrari's heritage with the demands of the future. The team worked nonstop. Engineers perfected hybrid engines. Mechanics tested prototypes. Designers created new silhouettes that combined aesthetics and aerodynamics. All these efforts were felt in every roar of the engine, in every vibration of the car on the track. These cars were not just transportation. They were a symbol of constant development, courage, and the desire to be better. It wasn't easy. High expectations, pressure from fans, and criticism from the media forced the team to constantly find a balance between tradition and innovation. Some models suffered from technical problems. Competitors overtook them on the tracks, and it seemed that the universe was testing Ferrari for strength. But it was here that the lessons were born that made the brand even stronger. Adapt, don't stop, turn crisis into fuel for development. An important moment was the realization that success on the track is not only about technology, but also about team synchrony, speed of reactions, trust between people. Every mechanic, every engineer, every racer became part of one big family, where every move, every decision could decide the fate of the race. And this synchrony became the secret that helped Ferrari maintain leadership even in the most difficult times. Modern challenges have taught Ferrari an important lesson. You need to constantly evolve, not be afraid of innovation, and take risks. They have shown that true success is the ability to combine heritage with the future, tradition with technology, stability with the speed of change. And although the path has been difficult, Ferrari has entered every track with pride, confidence, and a desire to prove that the legend is still alive today. In these challenges, a new lesson is born for all of us. Big dreams require constant work, adaptation, and the courage to make difficult decisions. Ferrari has shown that even at the top, there is no room for stopping. Only forward movement, only faith in the team and your own dream.